Harger, Chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Tuesday, August 10th, 2021, and the special meeting of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission being conducted entirely via Zoom is hereby called to order. Protocol for today's meeting was previously reviewed by Corporation Counsel, who indicated to me it is compliant with the executive orders issued by the governor and fair for those watching from a remote location. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'll start off with a roll call of the commission and staff. Please verbally indicate you are present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly?
Present.
Commissioner Parkins?
Present.
Commissioner Motto?
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Laskos?
Present.
Myself, Commissioner Harger. Commissioner Ticky? Mr. Rossetti, our administrator?
Present.
Mr. O'Neill, our assistant administrator and CEO? Mr. Nappy, our downtown projects coordinator?
Here.
Okay. Mr. Panico, our consultant?
Here.
And Mrs. Vernassos, our recording secretary?
Present.
Okay. Is Commissioner Ticky or Mr. O'Neill? Have they joined the meeting yet? There's Mr. O'Neill, you're on mute.
I'm here. Sorry, I had some connection issues.
That's okay. And Commissioner Ticky? Not yet? Okay. For the record, Commissioner Radomski and alternate Commissioner Usel are unavailable for today's meeting. Alternate Commissioner Laskos, I'll seat you in place of Commissioner Radomski for today's meeting.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of points for continuing with today's agenda. This is the Commission's 42nd meeting being done via a live streaming process. Mr. Rossetti will act as a Zoom meeting host, while commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting. The chair asks that you please identify yourself and wait to be recognized by the chair before speaking to make sure we're not all speaking over each other and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. Our application for a certificate of zoning compliance is our first agenda item. Application 4893, expedite the deal, 675 Bridgeport Avenue for a sign. This application was first heard at our July 28th meeting and was tabled to be referred to the zoning subcommittee. Mr. O'Neill, would you share the results of that subcommittee meeting and if there's further info about this application?
Sure. So the sign subcommittee met last Friday. We reviewed the application. The commission had made a suggestion to move the sign to the corner of the building on the curved part, if you guys remember. But basically the outcome of that meeting was that allowing the sign both on the canopy and on the wall would be two signs on the same frontage on Bridgeport Avenue. So the consensus was just to allow the one sign above the door. So I relayed that back to the applicant and they reached out to me today and said that they're going to revise their application to just include that one sign, and they're going to increase the size of that sign. I don't have those revised drawings yet, but the increase in size would still meet all of our zoning regulations. So I suggest that I guess this would be tabled because I don't have the updated drawings to present to you guys.
Okay. Commissioner Amato, as chair of the zoning subcommittee, do you have anything further to add?
No, I just say it was a consensus of all of us on the committee, on the subcommittee, Ruth and Mark attending, that it would be an error to allow two signs on the same side of the building. And so we all agreed that we weren't in favor of that.
Okay. All right, very good. So the recommendation from staff is to table this application to wait the revised drawings. So is there a motion? Any commissioner want to make a motion to table this application?
I'll make that motion, Commissioner Parkins.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
A second, but are we tabling this or are they withdrawing it?
No, we're tabling it
We're tabling it,
for
okay.
revised drawings.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, second by Commissioner Amato. So on the motion to table, application 4893 from Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Amato. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
and the commission, who did I miss? Oh, is Commissioner Ticky here yet?
He
Oh,
is. He just
okay.
sent the permission.
All right. So Commissioner Ticky, you are here, and were you here for this discussion about this application being tabled and the reasons for it?
He's on mute.
Yeah,
He's muted. No, he's just muted.
he's okay. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Chairwoman,
Yes.
I missed the subject of hearing about what?
We're on our application for certificate of zoning compliance. It's application 4893, expedite the deal. They were the representatives for Chase Bank up on Bridgeport Avenue. We had tabled it. And Mr. O'Neill just went through the fact that the zoning subcommittee met last Friday. It was, and Commissioner Amato confirmed that there was a consensus of the zoning subcommittee that it would be an error to have two signs. So Mr. O'Neill conveyed that to the applicant, and they are going to come back with a revised signage. So we have a motion to table on the floor, and I was doing a roll call vote.
I understand. I would abstain. I just joined the meeting. I missed that.
That's fine. Okay. All right, so on the motion to table, the motion has passed with the vote of 5-0-1. Okay. All right, next agenda item is old business, application 21-14, Vales Developers LLC. Care of Dominic Thomas, Old Orchard Road at Soundview Avenue, Assessors Map 113, Lot 97. Petition for a re-subdivision of Lot 9, Harrington Manor, to create two building lots in an R1 zone. This particular application, there was a public hearing, opens and closed on July 28th. Mr. Rossetti indicated that an abutting resident had sent an email inquiring on how water runoff would be managed as the terrain slopes towards the rear of his property. My notes indicate that if the property was to be subdivided, the two separate parcels would meet zoning requirements. Parcel A would connect to city water and have a septic system, whereas parcel B would have a well and a separate septic system. The Health Department approved the two proposed septic systems and requires that a detailed site plan be provided before construction. The separate galleys for runoff from any impervious surface would have to be installed before obtaining a certificate of occupancy. Mr. Rossetti, you have any additional information for us on this since our last meeting?
Just a few comments that both have been posted online. One is that the city engineer kind of concurred with everything that was stated, and kind of any outstanding drainage issues or driveway curb cuts, all that will be addressed when the applicant or future homeowners come in to actually develop the site. That this is not the time that we'll really delve into those details. It's just to check the standards for the lots. So he, in his letter, he said he had no issues with this subdivision, as well as Naugatuck Valley Health and the Inland Wetlands Department. All are, as long as the applicant understands what they've got to do in the future, they don't have any issues proceeding.
Okay. Do any commissioners want to make any comments on this particular request? Okay. Mr. Panico, is there any comments you'd like to share with us about this?
No, Alex and I reviewed it very thoroughly and hit the points that have to be addressed.
Okay.
The major one being that there's going to be water now to the second lot as well. Public water.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right. So unless somebody has any comments on this particular application, is there any commissioner who'd like to make a motion on this application?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Approve it?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion to approve application 2114 from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second for Commissioner Amato. So on the motion to approve from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Motto. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins.
I will abstain. I was not present for the public hearing.
Okay. And Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes, Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So the motion to approve application 2114 has been approved by a vote of 501. Next agenda item is new business. Application 20-18 Dominic Thomas for AA Shelton LLC. 710 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 29, Lot 9 for PDD on 36.1 acres in an office park district. The focus of this proposal is on two different areas of the property. In the rear is a 4.5 acre section for a 17,680 square foot light industrial space building. And in the front on 8 acres for 2 restaurants, one of the size of 4,000 square feet with a drive-through, and the other is an 8,000 square foot building without a drive-through. So I need a motion to accept for review, please. And
I'll make
set
a
public
motion.
hearing. Let me just clarify with staff, set a public hearing. Is there a specific date right now, Mr. Rossetti? September 15th, or has that changed?
I would prefer to keep it open.
Sure.
For the time being. Thank you.
Okay, so it would be a motion to accept and have staff set a public hearing. And Commissioner Kelly?
Yes, I'll make that motion. Yes.
Okay, so you're making that motion. Is there a second?
Commissioner Tiki will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Tiggy. So on the motion to accept application 2118 and have staff set a public hearing made by Commissioner Kelly and seconded by Commissioner Tiggy. We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Tiggy,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion has passed 6-0. Second new business item is application 2119, Mike Valero, 204 Long Hill Avenue. Assessors map 105, lot 83 for a special exception in the R4 zone on 0.39 acres for a 2-family house, which was a single family house. If people are familiar with this particular piece of property, this was a property that had a house fire within the last 2 months and was deemed uninhabitable. So this is a rebuild. So is there, again, Mr. Rossetti, is this a staff setting public hearing, or do you have a date?
We do have a date for this one. This is again 204 Long Hill Avenue. We would like to set the date for this application on August 25th.
Okay, so is there a motion to accept and set a public hearing for August 25th?
So be it.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
Commissioner Tiki will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Tiki. So on the motion to accept application 2119 and set a public hearing for August 25th from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Tiki. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion has passed by a vote of 6-0. Third item under new business and final under new business is application 2120, PDD number 39, Constitution Square, Rose Tizo and Company, LLC for RD Cinto Inc. at the southern intersection of Constitution Boulevard and Waterview Drive, Assessors Map 65, lots 27 and 28 on 11.1 acres for a major modification of PDD 39 for detailed development plans incorporating an 80,000 square foot warehouse facility. Is there a motion to accept for review and set a public hearing? And Mr. Rossetti, do we have a special date?
We do. We are, oop, where'd it go? Would like to schedule this hearing for, again, August 25th.
Okay. All right, is there someone that would like to make a motion to accept application 2120 and set the public hearing for August 25th?
Yeah, I'll
I'll
make
make
the
the
motion.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Elaine, you can, I heard you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're making a motion to accept?
To accept and,
All right,
yes,
is there a second?
Second,
Second from Commissioner Kelly. So on the motion to accept application 2120, set a public hearing for August 25th, made by Commissioner Motto, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion has been approved by a vote of 6-0. Next agenda item is public portion. Mr. Rossetti, is there anyone from the public who has indicated they're present and wish to speak?
I would ask, looks like Tom Harbinson might be on here. If Tom, would you like to say anything? If you do, just raise your hand. If not, I will just assume you're listening in.
Okay. All right, seeing that there is no one from the public that has indicated they are here to address the commission on any item not on the agenda, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Mr. Parkins.
there a second?
A second,
Second from Commissioner Motto. And on a roll call to close the public portion made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Motto. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
aye.
and the chair votes aye. All right, next agenda item is other business, and we have 2 824 referrals. Just a reminder to the commission that Connecticut State Statute 8-24 states in summary, no municipal agency or legislative body shall sell any municipally owned property until the proposal to take such action has been referred to the commission for a report. A proposal that's disapproved by the commission shall be adopted by the municipality by a 2/3 vote of the town council. So, and I also like to note for the record that the city of Shelton has an ordinance, it's section 2-18, that spells out the procedure that the city must take to sell city property, and the referral to the commission is one of the steps in that procedure. So the first 824 referral is for the sale of city property identified as 0 Federal Road, Assessor's Map 44, Parcel 51. Hopefully everyone has taken the opportunity to go on the city website, look at the materials that have been posted under the P&Z page for the memo from Mr. Basher, our administrative assistant. And it's dated July 14th, where the request has been placed, and up on the screen, Mr. Rossetti is sharing the map that was attached to that particular memo that shows the little portion of property that is the portion that seems to be something that no one knows who belongs to. And somewhere along the way. And I just found it interesting that Mr. Rossetti, if you could raise that up a little bit. The road toward at the bottom, the other way, is Federal Road, and you see the lot that's below it, and 2 on the left and 1 on the right. They're all pretty long, but for some reason, that 3rd one from the left, right below the yellow highlighted area, is a little smaller than the others, and I thought that was a little strange. So, Mr. Rossetti, was there some kind of subdivision of the property that is above the yellow section on 20?
That's correct. So just so no one's confused, this red line that's indicated on this map, it does not have any current meaning. It just represents some old boundary lines or old parcel lines. This area was re-subdivided, I don't know when, but a number of years ago. And this piece of property in question does belong to the city. We have checked the maps. But this red line has no current meaning. It's just an old property line that was left on the map.
Okay. All right, so from a planning perspective, I don't believe this property is needed for city use. Does any commissioner want to comment on this referral?
Obviously landlocked, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's useless to anyone.
right.
Except the two lots, there are two lots there and one of them doesn't have a house on it. So I suppose the city is hoping that one of those two lots will want to acquire that little bit of property.
Yeah, actually, I think there is
Yes.
an owner. We're on Twin Brook. You see the lot that's on the corner of, is it Mohegan and Twin Brook? There's a house, and then to the left, there's another house, and then to the left is like an empty lot. I think that property owner owns the empty lot as well, so it would appear that there is some kind of maybe plans in the future.
Madam Chair,
No,
Mr.
hang on,
Basher
Mr.
is
Nappi.
trying to get on.
I know,
Can you-
I am going to recognize you, Mr. Nappi. So before I do, is there any other commissioner has any comments on this particular? No?
No,
Okay. Mr. Nappi, go ahead.
I said Mr. Basher should be on momentarily. He's just having a couple computer problems.
Oh, okay, he's going to join us. That's nice.
Are you on, Jack?
In the meantime, Mr. Rossetti, until Mr. Basher is connected, was there any a comment on this from the Conservation Commission?
No, this is not open space. The Conservation Commission did not comment on this.
Okay, so no comment was needed from them in this instance. Is Mr. Basher with us yet?
Not yet. Are you on now, Jack?
Is he doing it by
Uh,
phone or is he going to be?
Hang on, he's on, ladies and gentlemen. Just give him a second to speak up.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jack.
Can't hear you.
You mute.
Jack, your voice is very, very faint.
I'm trying to talk louder. Is it better?
A little bit.
All right. This is a parcel of property that similar to a lot of other slivers and parcels throughout the city that the city has title to. It's landlocked, has no use to the city, or trying to simply convey it so that the property owner will just add it to his existing property and will go back on the tax record.
Okay. All right. As I mentioned before you got on, that the city does have an ordinance that goes through the process. So this is part of the process. But I did comment before you got on that from a planning perspective, I don't believe this property is needed for city use. And I had asked if any commissioner wanted to make any comment.
So the reference to planning and zoning is through Connecticut General Statute 8-24.
Right.
Has nothing to do with the ordinance that the city has. The state statute requires that anytime the city is going to make improvements, sell or buy property, that we have to submit a request to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision is whether or not the use is whether there's any other use that the city could have on. If you approve it, that's fine. If you decline it, it goes to the Board of Aldermen for overriding and veto power. But other than that, the Planning and Zoning Commission's discussion should be limited to, is this property needed by the city Is there plans that the planning and zoning would have for the parcel of property?
Yes, before you came on, I did read a summary of state statute 824, and what I said was no municipal agency or legislative body shall sell any municipally owned property until the proposal to take such action has been referred to the commission for a report. A proposal disapproved by the commission shall be adopted by the municipality by 2/3 vote of the town council. So, and I did for the third time, and what I have said is, from a planning perspective, I don't believe this property is needed for city use. So,
Correct.
yep, okay. So any other comments from any commissioners? Anything further from Mr. Basher? Okay, and as Mr. Rossetti explained, there would be no comment needed from the Conservation Commission because this is not open space.
Not
Okay.
open space.
No, so, all right, so is there anybody want to make a motion for action on this particular request for an 824 referral?
Commissioner Parkins will make a motion
Okay, and
to
is
approve
that-
favorably.
to approve favorably. Thank you, Commissioner. So this is for a motion for a favorable report on an 824 referral for 0 Federal Road from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And that's a second from Commissioner Kelly. So on the motion from Commissioner Parkins for a favorable report, second by Commissioner Kelly, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
you're an aye. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The motion has been approved for favorable referral by a vote of 6-0. All right, the second 824 referral is for the sale of property currently identified as open space at the rear of 56 Wellesley Drive. Again, there was a memo from Mr. Basher that was posted to the city's website. It's dated July 14th. There was a comment in there that Planning and Zoning Commission previously approved a similar request for 3 individual properties directly across the street, but it seems that the circumstances are a little different as to how the property owners across the street acquired property. Maybe Mr. Basher, did you want to weigh in on this at all?
Sure. I disagree. I don't think that it's any different than those people that were across the street. The planning and zoning subdivision that was approved years ago provided for very little backyard space, especially in these 4 houses. The major part of the properties were located in front of the house. There's very little use. The 3 across the street had done some improvements and had actually encroached on the city property. This particular
We lost you. Mr. Rossetti, did we lose his connection?
No, Jack he's still there.
Madam Chair, I'm relaying it. He's having audio problems, so my phone is speaking through my phone to you.
Okay,
Go ahead, Mr. Bashan.
can't hear him.
Maybe you could try just calling in, phone call.
Yeah, try it, Jack.
Alex, can you scroll up a little bit so we could see the properties across the street that they're referring to? Thank you. Doesn't really show it though, huh?
No.
Reduce, it's 90%. Can you make it a little smaller?
No, just the lines won't show what was
What was added, right?
yeah, what was deeded over.
My comment, is Mr. Basher here? No, my comment is that I thought it was a little different. It was that it detailed in the bottom of the memo that the property owners across the street had installed pools and other improvements before they came before the commission for approval. In this case, they're asking for the request. They made the request to extend their property 15 feet into the city open space prior to any violation occurring. Well, of course, that is the way it should be done. But may not necessarily, so that's why I'm saying it, it's not necessarily the same. But in the meantime, is Mr. Basher here yet?
He's
No.
trying to phone in, Mr.
Okay.
Rossetti.
All right, so in the meantime, we did get a letter from the, I did receive a letter from the Shelton Conservation Commission regarding the 824 referral for 56 Wellesley Drive. And it says, "Dear Chairman Harger, Conservation Commission totally opposes the request by 56 Wellesley Drive to expand their property by purchasing Shelton public open space so that they can have an amenity to their house that they should have considered when they acquired their property. The city's open space is not meant to add to the inventory of someone's property. When people want to build something that can't fit on their property, the remedy is to put their house on the market for sale and buy another house. They should not try to buy something that's been dedicated for the public benefit for perpetuity. Shelton's open space is not for sale, and it's signed by Mr. Harbinson, the chairman." So I
Madam
want
Chair, it appears Mr. Harbinson would like to speak. I don't know if you'd like to.
I think I have Mr. Basher here now.
let me just check to see if Mr. Basher is ready to continue on, and then I'll recognize Mr. Harbinson.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Basher. Go ahead, Mr. Basher. Can you hear him?
No,
Not at all.
No, they can't hear you. I got it up all the way.
it's even worse than it was before.
Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better, just a little bit better.
Oh my God. Let me try to get on.
That's better.
That's better.
That's better.
Go ahead, Jack.
All right. So this property is the same as the properties across the street that the planning and zoning already approved for an extension of their property lines. As I said, the properties that were originally approved in the subdivision have the majority of the property in the front of the house. So they pushed the houses back to the point where people do not have backyards. The people across the street had actually encroached on city property, and we then transferred property to them. This individual is doing it correctly before he made any improvements on his property, and is simply requesting that he have 15 feet into the woods so that he would have proper setbacks if he wants to put any improvements on the back of the house.
Okay, anything else?
And now I would just ask that the Planning and Zoning Commission treat him in the same light that they treated the other three houses across the street who were actually in violation, whereas this individual is doing it correctly.
Okay,
Well,
if there's nothing further from Mr. Basher, Mr. Harbinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Conservation Commission really does value the city open space, and in the particular parcel being requested, lot 56, there is a wetlands area at the rear of that property, which does contribute to natural habitats. I appreciate Administrator Assistant Basher's illustration of what occurred across the street. However, I do believe it left out an important part of the process, is that if there is a hardship by a property owner to install a pool or a shed or something that is within a regulated setback, the process is that they go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. As referenced, the property across the street They had violated the city open space by clearing the open space and installing a play structure. They then went to Zoning Board of Appeals on September of 2007. Conservation Commission wrote a letter on September 13th of 2007, giving our opinion on that request to ZBA. And the ZBA approved it on September 18th of 2007. Consequently, when they constructed the pool, they constructed it on city property. This was brought to the attention of the mayor's office, and I attended a meeting with the property owners and the mayor back around that time, which is over a decade ago. And apparently that was resolved at some time during this year because a payment of $13,500 was made for a portion of open space property sold to that property owner. However, I am not familiar with any 824 referrals that were requested to planning and zoning for that parcel or 3 parcels across the street from the subject parcel we are talking about. Certainly, Conservation Commission did not receive any request for referral for those parcels either, but we appreciate the opportunity to comment upon this one. However, I don't think we should suspect that this property owner would violate city open space to construct a pool on city property the way that the property owner across the street did.
Mhm. Okay. Just to
Can I just,
clarify- Sure, hang on a minute.
yeah,
Mr. Amato, just to clarify, Mr. Harbinson, it's the approach would be, you had made a comment, I think the word was wrong, but that went by me. So go ahead, Commissioner Amato.
yeah, I just want to clarify. So the properties across the street, they got their permission from the Board of Appeals, not from Planning and Zoning. Did I hear that right?
That is correct. Zoning Board of Appeals approved at their meeting on September 18th of 2007 to allow the setback on the rear property line to vary from 20 feet normal to a 6-foot location for the installation of an 18 by 36 in-ground pool.
And why is that a hardship? I just kind of wonder how that ever got approved.
I don't know. You'd have to listen to the
Yeah.
record of the Zoning
Nah,
Board of
I'm not
Appeals, but
gonna
it was
do that,
approved, so
but-
it's neither here nor
Yeah.
there in that regard.
Right, I guess, but I mean,
Was
it
that
sounds
not-
like Mr. Basher was implying that these things were all went through planning and zoning and were approved. It sounds like that's not quite right.
Put me on again, please.
Go ahead, Mr. Basher, get
Go
close.
ahead.
Okay, Mr. Harbison is erroneous. The 3 properties across the street were recently referred by the 824 referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and in fact, they did approve those transfer, the 824 referral. So he is wrong in that, saying that it wasn't done.
Mr. Bashar, when was that?
I don't have my records in front of me, but I suspect that it was done in the past 24 months, maybe. I'm only guessing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have the records in front of me.
I don't recall it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know
I
either.
agree with you, Commissioner Amato. I mean, Commissioner Parkins, I don't recall anything like that. So be that as it may, and even though the Conservation Commission is only an advisory group, I feel their comments and Mr. Harbinson's comments have a point. You know, I feel that this situation is totally different. The property owners across the street went ahead and did something. They encroached on city property. Then they went and purchased the property for their use. And, you know, it's a credit for this particular property owner at 56 Wesley Drive for them to do it in the right manner. However, the parcel that they're asking for is city open space. And I think we're going to open up a Pandora's box and set a precedent if we continue, if this was approved. You know, the Board of Aldermen can't override it, but I am very reluctant to go on the record as a commissioner saying that it is appropriate to sell open space when a property owner wants a little bit more property. You know, I know Mr. Basher mentioned that the features of the property are such that the front is sloped and there's not enough lawn area in the back. And, you know, that's one of those things. You go and buy a piece of property, you've got to make sure it's going to fit your use for it. And it may not be right then when you purchase it, but here, we've lived in our house 21 years now. And then back 2000, maybe we would have been in, have that thought, well, we don't really need this or that, but wow, 15 years down, yeah, now we do. And we're stuck because we don't have the appropriate frontage or the setback or whatever. And that's what you go to ZBA for.
Commissioner Harger, if I may raise a question, this was obviously a plan. I'm not sure. I believe this development was approved before my time, before I began on planning and zoning. But this was obviously either a PDD or a PRD or some sort of plan development. And I would assume that in order, it looks like a lot of these lots are geared to be half acre, just a little bit less, a little bit more, half acre lots. So the positioning of the house has nothing to do with planning and zoning. That's strictly a developer issue if they chose to put the houses in the back for whatever reason. But there would probably be some sort of set aside of open space required for the approval of so many units. So if the purchase of this additional open space is taking away from that allotment, then it beats the system, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of people
May-
just
may I
buying
be
little
heard?
chunks
May I-
of open space. I totally agree with Jenny, all
May I
of your
be heard?
comments about this.
Hang on a minute. Let's have Commissioner Amato speak. And if you want to say something, please indicate by raising your hand.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Amato, continue on.
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying, Jenny. I think even though those lots across the street were handled in a different way, I don't think that makes it right to take another chunk of open space. I mean, if there were mistakes made or things were done incorrectly on the other side of the street, I don't see how that makes it a justification for taking more open space. In this case, I just can't see it.
Mhm.
May I be heard? Hello?
Okay,
Hello?
Mr. Basher, you're recognized. Speak up. We can hardly hear you.
Thank you. Okay. First of all, what you're basically doing is rewarding those people who violated the rules and punishing an individual who is playing by the rules.
Good point.
And
You're fading out, Mr. Basher.
without going through the proper process, you'd still be in the same position as you would be across the street. And so you're really treating him in a disparate manner. Number two, you're really not talking about a large portion of property. You're only talking about 15 feet into the open space, which is nothing, there's nothing there. So I think you're really punishing this particular individual. And you can say all you want that, this was a PDD and it doesn't matter where the house sits. That's not accurate. I mean, you guys put the approval on where it's located, where the houses are located. And I happen to know because I used to live in that development next door to this particular house. So I just think that if that's the position of the commission, that's fine. But I think you're being very punitive to this particular individual.
So what happens if everybody else comes in and asks for the same thing? Everybody along that street comes in and asks for additional land.
Well, you already did it for 3 houses.
I disagree. I think that was a totally different issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And I don't agree with the outcome of that either, so.
And I didn't
okay,
have
would you then prefer this individual to put his pool in, and when it's violation, then we have to go and negotiate a sale for the property again?
No, I would prefer to make him take it out.
It's not funny.
Okay.
Mr. Harbison, I see your hands up. Is that?
Yes,
Correct.
thank you, Chairwoman. I just want to clarify for Commissioner Parkins. When this development was approved, there was a substantial set aside of open space, but in addition to that open space, there was a funds, I believe the amount was $50,000 that was set aside for improvements at the intersection of Buddington Road and Shelton Avenue. That was later repositioned to be utilized for construction of the recreation path, which does substantially go through the open space within the Huntington Woods development. I would also say that the owner of 56 Wesley Drive, according to book 3978, page 190, they purchased this property in July of 2020. And in their purchase, it does make note of easements, conditions, and building setback lines as shown on map number 3719. So as a property purchaser, they would be aware of what they are able to accomplish on the property they're purchasing. And if they do want to install any kind of a structure, including a pool, they do have the remedy of going to the Zoning Board of Appeals with such a hardship, which was a component left out by Attorney Basher. I also don't think it is appropriate to assume that a property owner is going to do a violation of open space and install a pool on city property just because a neighbor across the street did. I think that's an assumption ahead of time as to the character of this property owner. Thank you.
All right, any other commissioners have any comments, questions, or concerns? Is there any further documentation that any commissioner would want to receive before acting on this particular 824 referral? Okay, is there any commissioner that would like to make a motion on this particular request?
I'll make a motion to disagree with this proposal. I'm not sure what language we're using in terms of our role as having the 24 referral.
Yeah, make a motion to report unfavorably.
Okay.
The 824 referral for the property identified as open space at the rear of 56 Wesley Drive. So that came from Commissioner Motto. Is there a commissioner who would like to second?
Commissioner
I'll second
Parkins
it.
will second. Go ahead, Commissioner Dickey. Go ahead. You can take it.
One of the three of you. Okay, I saw Commissioner Laskos' hand. Right. So on the motion to report unfavorably to the request for an 824 referral, for a favorable referral for the property identified as open space at the rear of 56 Wesley Drive from Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Laskos. I'll do a roll call. So if you vote aye, you're supporting the unfavorable. If you vote nay, you're supporting the favorable. You're against it.
It's a little late for that, you know, we're tired.
Once a year. All right, so Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
you are voting aye that you're for the unfavorable report.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Dickey,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The motion to report unfavorably on the request for an 824 referral for the property at the rear of 56 Wesley Drive has been approved by a vote of 6-0. So that is an unfavorable report that will be passed along to the Board of Aldermen, and they can take it from there. Okay. All right, next on the agenda are comments from the chair and the subcommittee chairs. There was an SEDC meeting this morning, and Mr. Grimmer, the president, indicated just a couple of things I can pass along to the commission. Regarding 267 Canal Street, Star Pin, the next step is for an A2 T2 survey on the property, which would determine how deep an excavation can be for any future building on this site. The committee investigating the restoration of the locks would like to see if a portion of the canal raceways that are on this property could be preserved for historical purposes, and that was brought to the property owner's attention. Second thing is regarding restoration of the locks. All three property owners have granted the permission for the city to have access to the property. And the SCDC had a summer intern who was charged with developing a database that could be used to track all activity on sites along Canal Street and all documents that have been prepared for individual sites. And she, from what I saw that was on the shared screen this morning, she has done a really commendable job. She did a lot of research on how to pull this all together, and I think SCDC has been approached, if I understood Mr. Grimmer correctly, to have this presented at some kind of engineering seminar or webinar or something. And so for others to use as a model. Commissioner Parkins, is there anything you can add, as I was not able to stay on for the entire meeting?
That was today?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was no further discussion on that.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Amato, do you have any comments from the zoning subcommittee?
No, we just had our meeting last week. That went well on that sign. That was
Okay.
last activity we had.
Very good. Commissioner Kelly, downtown subcommittee? You
Yeah,
guys
I'm going to
have-
refer to Mr. Nappy, the coordinator. He has a lot of information for us.
All right, I'll be recognizing him in a minute. For staff comments, Mr. Rossetti?
Not at this time.
Okay, and Mr. O'Neill, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so I have a couple highlights, if you will. Just FYI purposes of businesses that we've approved in the office, as staff approvals
Mhm.
that are going in around town. So I'd have a list of 3 highlights, like I said before. So the first is a restaurant and bar going in at Bridge Street Commons 2 at 427 Howe Avenue, called Chaplin's. I believe it's a steak and seafood type of restaurant. And they expect to open in the next couple months.
Okay,
The second is at the former Walgreens at the corner of Center Street and Quorum Avenue. 73 Center Street, I believe, is the address. A laundromat was approved called Center Street Soap, and I know the 4 lease signs are still up, so that's all the information I have, is that the laundromat was approved for that location. I'm not sure what has gone on between the property owner and the business owner since then. The last one is in Cedar Village, Phase 1. Another tenant not tenant, well, I guess they are a tenant, has been approved. It's a hair salon called Butterfly and Sage LLC. That'll be going in the retail space number 1, next to the barber shop right on the corner of Hill Street there. And yeah, just to kind of keep the commission up to date as to some of the staff approvals that have been going on. In addition to that, you guys should get an email about every month from our administrative assistant, Alexandria, that goes over the list of all the staff approvals. And just to make you aware, if you have any questions or comments about anything that's on that list, feel free to give our office a call and we can, discuss it then.
right, yeah, those are for the sheds and the home offices and the
Home offices,
swimming
new
pools,
houses,
the decks
decks.
and all that
Yep.
kind of stuff, but yeah, this is good. There was an article about Chaplin.
Yeah, I believe it's called Chaplin.
Yeah, on Connecticut Post this morning. So it's the same owner as the Taco Media,
Correct.
and so that's interesting. So that's
Sounds good. Josh, Commissioner Parkins, was there any approvals given for the commercial building down on Canal Street?
Yeah, so there was, I don't have the notes here specifically what it was, but I believe it was an optometrist. And there's also a restaurant that was approved with the patio that's on the end by the river.
Do you
I
know
don't have the name of the restaurant, no.
Okay, yeah, for
I can get that for you.
the Riverside commercial, yeah.
Correct, yep.
That came to us that we were talking about upstairs, turning into residential. Okay, any other questions for Mr. O'Neill? Okay, then Mr. Nappy, how about you?
Yes, Mr. Kelly asked that I report. There's been some renovations downtown, just to bring you up to date on those that don't have a chance to go downtown. One is the old Liquid Lunch building has been restored by Dan Riccio, the new owner of the Motto property. And he is entering into an agreement with a cafe. There'll be a cafe there along with a crystal shop. And then the following.
Crystal shop?
Yeah, I don't have any other information on it.
Okay.
Other than he said it's a
Crystal
cafe and a
ball?
crystal shop, and he wasn't quite sure what they were going to sell or offer, but it was going to be part of the cafe. In
Oh.
addition to that, to the northern end of that building, which is painted somewhat black, will be Mr. Riccio's office. And it's called Hopeful Home Buyers, and they deal with buying and selling of property and developing it. In addition to that, if you've noticed at Center Street at Howe Avenue, they started to restore the building that had caught fire about 2 years ago. And they're cleaning it and offering some, they're painting it and offering some window dressings.
That's the one that's right across the street from the Ripton Senior Housing.
That's correct.
Yep.
Trying to convince them to replace the fake plastic brick with some other type of dressing on that. We'll let you know how we make out. In addition to that, the old Simonetti Cleaners, they've started to paint that building. They're replacing the windows. He is looking at to, of course, taking down the 1-hour cleaning sign and get that old-fashioned molding replaced. And the third one, I'm looking at my notes, Simonetti's, the helpful home improvement in the Center Street at Howe Avenue. That's the three of them that they're working on right now. In addition to that, we've made some progress in going for additional site visits. We'll be going to the Getz property, which is known as the Lofts. And we'll be doing that hopefully by the last week in August. After that, we'll be Commons 2, and that's where Dunkin' Donuts is or was, and we'll be looking at 3 or 4 different types of apartments in that. Problem is, before they finish the building, they've already rented the apartments on that. And so there's only about three left at Commons 2 on that one. So that's the good news. And then we'll be looking after that. We'll be looking at 502 Howe Avenue, the second week of September, and that's the Webster Bank building. Once they get a temporary CO, they'll open up the apartments so that we can go through it. I also can tell you that the contract for where the donut shop has been awarded to a construction manager with Perry Pettit's, and shortly they'll be coming back with making sure the plans are okay. John Ruffalo is the architect on that, and so that will be starting up again also. So Commons
That's
2,
the one that we approved like 2 years ago.
yeah, right.
Yep, okay.
So Commons 2 will have a go through that. The Lofts will go through that. By the way, if you go behind where the restaurant is in the office building, you'll see a cupola that's been constructed. They're waiting for some machinery to come, and that will be hoisted up to the top of the Lofts building, which were part of the original plans. I've also asked him if he will look at continuing the awning on the front of the building to try to dress it up and do some other touch-up work to make that look more of attractive to us. That's all I have now. We will be having a meeting, but all the developers were quite busy trying to get their apartment set, and the building construction ended.
We have one other one, Mr. Nappy, that if you could pursue is with Mr. Stanzel's 6 apartment on the
Right.
Corm Avenue, right down the hill.
That's gone a little ahead of the schedule. They finished the framing and the exterior of it. And that as soon as that's done, we'll get a tour through that. He also has a 6-family.
That's
he's
what I'm
offered.
talking about, the
The
6-family.
6-family is on Corm Avenue,
Yeah,
and he is finishing up, and he's graciously said that the commissioners can go through that and see what type of restoration has been done to that 6-family building.
so you're going to be sending, the commission will get an email as to what dates?
That's correct.
Okay.
And hopefully, we're going to try to do two settings, so that those that are working during the day could go early evening.
Right.
And those that aren't, we'll get them in during the day.
All right. And
Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's about it.
how the occupancies going for 502 Howe and Mr. Malisi's and Mr. Stanzel's 2 properties?
Well, Mr. Stanzel's moving ahead. I think he said about 1/3 of them are already asked and locked into a contract with him.
That's phase 2?
502, pardon?
That's phase 2?
That's phase 2. That's on Corm Avenue
Right.
at Hill Street.
Phase 1 is totally rented?
Phase 1 is totally rented.
Okay, how about a
Correct.
6-family?
No, he's finishing up some work. He's got
Before,
some
okay.
commitments, but no one's moving in.
You're right.
into it.
And 502 how?
502 Howe will be the last one, and that will be in the second week of September. And he tells me that the renting is going above average, whatever that means. But fortunately, we found that most of the apartments are rented prior to the end of construction, and that no
Yeah.
one is pulling out. So it's a really good sign for downtown. And now the retail seems to be coming with both the Riverside being populated, and as Josh said, Cedar Village. We're waiting for the parking lot across from Cedar Village, which is the Eversource lot, to be readied so that the city could exercise its lease on that. And that will open up 70 or so spots there.
Mhm. Okay, and I know it's not in your immediate focus, but maybe Mr. Rossetti, if you have any information, how is Mr. AJ? How is AJ doing with his property up on Nichols Place and on Beard Sawmill Road?
Yeah, I checked, excuse me, I did check on that. That's not ready for inspection. It's running a little behind schedule. And part of that's attributed to the cost of lumber and supplies that's gone up on that.
Yeah, okay. Have you seen Mr. Grasso's building on Nichols Place?
We've taken rides up there. That seems to be progressing. Josh and I did an inspection of some complaint that came in for tree cutting, which was handled
Okay.
by Mr. Grasso.
And by the way, did you want to comment on 502 Howe Avenue, something about the lighting that he has?
Yeah,
Done?
we talked with them. There's a problem with the Juliet balconies. The Juliet balconies probably should have been taken out when they first proposed it, because they are with the efficiency apartments, and that's the only window in the building. So they've deemed it that it could possibly be a safety hazard, because if someone needed to get out of that window, they have what, as Josh calls it, the jail bars facing them. And any hesitation could mean some safety problems with the occupants. So what they've decided to do is to do other things to enhance that building. And if you have a chance to go up there at night, you'll see that they've installed some uplighting on each of the brick sections. And it gives it really a nice look for downtown. We're trying to get the Pierpont block to at least put up lighting on the old sign, which identifies it as the Pierpont, built in 18-something.
Okay.
So
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Nappy?
I have one other thing, and
Sure.
Mr. Malisi, and I think the proper place for this to go would be to the sign committee. We do allow awnings, and he's going to submit plans for New York style awnings just on the retail portion of the Bridge Street Commons 2, which faces Howe Avenue.
Okay. All right. Mr. Panico, do you have anything for us?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, just.
Chairwoman, Commissioner,
going.
Dick,
Okay, Commissioner Tiki?
I had a question for Mr. Nappy. We had heard about a possible shuttle service or business owners working with the city. I was just wondering if there was any update on that.
That's correct. We've met with Corporation Counsel. The mayor has offered to let us use 2 buses which were acquired from Valley Transit District until we get a firm handle on what the hotels look like and if they want to get part of this so that it could extend from Bridgeport Avenue. Mr. O'Neill's working with me on that. They're drawing up an agreement. We're looking into funding. The city has said that they would supply some funding. The businessmen are establishing an LLC in order to get some funding together so that they can pay the drivers, bus drivers, and establish the shuttle, which would operate Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I must say that that with the fantastic activity on the Veterans Memorial Park, that parking, if any, was at a very minimum. All the lots were pretty filled. So we have to still deal with that as to how we're going to shuttle them from a lot that's filled. And hopefully the Eversource lot will be in our bag of tricks to allow parking. Is that anything else, Mr. Tiki?
No, that's
Anything else, Mr. Tiki?
no, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else for staff, then let's move on to our last item on the agenda, and that's the approval of the July 13th and 21st minutes. I'm just going to take them out of order because, as I indicated in our July 28th meeting, I requested that the approval of the July 13th minutes be tabled, as I wanted Commissioner Parkins to clarify some of her comments that were made for application 4893. And I had the opportunity to speak to Commissioner Parkins, and she indicated that her comments were presented correctly. So does anyone have any other comments or changes for the July 13th minutes?
It looked okay to me.
Okay. All right, hearing no other comments, is there a motion to approve the July 13th minutes as submitted?
I'll
Commissioner
make the
Parkins.
motion. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ruth.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I said I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay.
And I'll second. I'll second.
Approved From the July 13th came from Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Parkins, and on a motion to approve, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
and the chair. votes aye. Okay. Next would be the July 21st minutes. Is there anyone that has any comments or changes for the July 21st minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and what section are we talking about?
Let's see, we're to page 3, the bottom one. I think I was the one that asked about the trash removal.
What's the paragraph start with?
Commissioner Harger,
Oh, okay.
it's the
cool.
last paragraph.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, about the, and Mr., okay, Commissioner Harger asked about the trash removal.
Right.
Okay,
I think I was the one that asked about the trash removal and the chutes.
okay. All right, so we'll note that as being a change. That instead of it being attributed to Commissioner Harger, it should be attributed to Commissioner Kelly as asking about the trash removal. And the rest of the sentence reads, and Mr. Getz said that there are interior chutes for the trash.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so is there a motion to approve the July 21st minutes with the changes?
So be it.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the July 21st minutes as changed from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Amato has seconded. So on the motion to approve, made by Commissioner Kelly with the changes, seconded by Commissioner Amato. Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
And your votes aye. Motion to approve with the changes as noted has passed 6-0. Well, seeing that there is no other item on the agenda, the chair declares the meeting adjourned as of 7:09 p.m. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday, the 17th. Everyone's got the notice that the meeting is being backed up a day. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Aye.